And then from day 2 on, like, that is his spot.
He just goes to it.
Just goes in it. Loves it.
Has he got a bed in it?
Yeah, that's his only bed is in there.
Yeah, he's cute.
He's getting mighty confident, which is good and bad. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just more time consuming for me that he's gotten more confident on his own.
Yeah.
Right? Like now I really have to watch him instead of him just following me everywhere.
Gal, it's wild how fast they grow, isn't it?
He's
like
noticeably bigger.
You see him in a week.
It's crazy.
It's like they're that much bigger.
Yeah, it's crazy. He is noticeably bigger.
Yeah.
But he's been doing great. Got place training going this weekend. Got him to place from all the way across the house last night. It was awesome.
Is your wife at this point going, hey, how you going to spend this much time with your kids? Or
oh, she's been giving me shit the whole way. God, I wish I was Camo.
Suddenly you have all kinds of time.
Yeah.
You're spending it with the dog instead of your wife and kids, huh?
I'm not just saying this to make myself sound better, but I've also done it on purpose to not make the dog a crutch. You know? I have been more present with my family which is, it's kind of sad to say because it just shows that I could have been more present by choice before.
Yeah.
But like I have been way more present with the family, with the dog, so she can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so the dog doesn't become a burden.
Yep. No,
I get it. It's kind of sad to say when I think it's like now that I'm saying it out loud and in public, it's I realize how shitty that sounds, but I am more present.
Tyler Cole. This will be the second time I've mentioned Tyler on a podcast in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So Tyler's from Salt Lake, but he reached out and sent me a DM and he was like, hey, you going to come to this? Because they have one of these rodeo arena 3D shoots, coming up this weekend. And I was like, man, I really want to go, but probably the only day that would really work for me would be Sunday. But they actually they shoot on Saturday. Oh. And I was like, I don't know if I can convince the wife. There's just too much going on. And he's like, oh, you better get caught up on your honeydews. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, that is funny. Like you hit that midsummer from like June, July. It's like, what can I do here?
I'm going to be more present.
Yeah, I'm a little more present. Yeah, try to buy some good grades.
When you say it out loud, you realize how shitty that sounds. Because I obviously could have done it by choice.
Because you should have been the whole time.
But look, it's a reality.
Do you guys want to hear a funny story?
Of course I do.
Have I told you guys this story yet this morning? So I was driving down this morning, and I'm cooking along, and as I'm driving along, it's starting to heat up because the further south you go, it gets warmer, right? So I'm getting some nice sunshine coming in.
Yeah, get a suntan.
Yeah, so I'm driving along, long straight stretch coming into Vegas, and it's like getting more traffic, and I'm like getting hot because I have like a grid fleece hoodie, kind of like your new hoodie, we'll just talk about here in a sec. But I got this grid fleece hoodie on. It's a Stone Glacier. I got it on and I'm like, man, I'm getting kind of hot. So I quarter zip it and undo my seatbelt. And I start to pull my arms out of the sleeves. I'm driving with my knee.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to just pull this thing off real quick, so I can keep driving. So I go to pull the thing off real quick.
Stuck on your head?
No. My t-shirt sticks to the inside of the grid fleece. It's kind of sticky, right? So I just pulled my whole shirt off.
So you're just driving shirtless?
I'm driving there shirtless. Just pull it off, and I immediately I'm sitting there shirtless, which I never do. And I look to my left, and there's a lady just passing me.
Oh, I'm sure she loved the trail show.
She's in the passenger seat, and she's just looking at me like, what in the hell?
Trail really is the world's most interesting man.
He really is. Honestly, he is.
He is the randomest freaking story.
If you think you know Trail, just spend 5 more minutes with him, and you'll realize you know.
He's a skateboarder at heart. He loves shoes.
I've been giggling about that all morning, though. This lady just immediately pulls up on me, glances over, and I'm just sitting there shirtless.
In the wintertime, too.
Yeah. It's, 7:38 in the morning. It's pretty hilarious.
I'm sure she liked the show.
I don't think she did.
No?
I think she was a little bit more horrified. I wondered if she was just like, what's going on over there? Has he got everything on or off, or what's going on?
But see,
driving naked.
When Trail explains that happens to him, it seems really, really funny.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking in my head, if it happened to me, I don't think people would think it's as funny.
No, people would call you a straight weirdo. We're going to laugh at Trail's story.
It's Trail, because Trail's demeanor, Trail's personality, that's just a good, funny story.
No, I bet you she was weirded out. I'd be weirded out. If I was driving along in in the wintertime.
In the wintertime?
I looked over, some dude's just shirtless.
It's not an odd thing to see in the summertime here. Mm-hmm. It is odd, don't get me wrong, but you see it in the summertime.
Last time I did that, I think, was high school sports, coming back from basketball practice.
Oh, yeah.
And
I don't understand how
hot still.
How do you sit against leather sweaty? It's like
Very
the
difficult. You stick to it.
It's the worst.
all my sensory that just tips me over
I
the edge
agree.
right there.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
That's a cool story, Drew.
Yeah, so that happened to me this morning. It's the kind of morning I'm having.
Good morning.
How
Are
cold
you
was
doing
it?
the podcast right now? Too?
I
You
didn't
getting hot?
rack. What?
You doing the podcast right now? You're gonna get hot and take your
I might.
sick of flannel
Yeah,
off?
should
Shirtless- a shirtless
should we do a
podcast?
shirtless episode? One of these?
Just rip them off.
Maybe July when it's like 120
We
down
should.
here. We
Yeah.
just cameras turn on. We're all just sitting here shirtless.
How cold was it in Cedar this morning?
Like 22, 21.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it
It
got
was
cold
20.
this weekend.
It was 28 at my house this morning.
Oh,
I was
really?
wondering how cold Cedar was.
Yeah, I think this weekend I saw like 15 one morning. It was
That's pretty
cold and windy. Yeah, like wind chill.
Yeah, we had a lot of wind this
No
morning.
snow.
Still.
Really
Man,
yeah.
we need some snow so bad.
Yeah, we were. I think you were down here last time. I was looking at that snowpack,
Mm-hmm.
and like, it's not looking good. It's like 20. It was 28% snow water equivalent of
So-
percent of normal.
Southwest corner of the state, 28% of
That's not
normal.
good.
Not good.
Not good at all.
Yeah, pretty tough. Gonna be a tough summer for sure. Yeah.
We need it.
Promo. Do you guys want to hit promo early? Look how good I am. 6 minutes in.
Yeah,
Lane's gonna love that.
and we still
I'm
have that
impressed.
baller promo going on too.
Yeah. Do you want to run through it? Do you know it well enough?
I don't think I know it well enough. I just know you got to refer a friend. Sign
Here's
up a
all you
bunch
need
of
to know.
people.
$1,000. Sign up 4 people.
$1,000 is to refer and sign up 4 people with your email address. So when they sign up, they'll use your email and the promo code. When you get 4 people to sign up, we're going to give you $1,000 in the Go Hunt Gear Shop. So
And
that's
then if you're not able to get the 4, you get what, 75 back?
$75. Yep.
So you get 75. Do they get?
They get 75.
Yeah.
Yep. So even if you don't get to 4, you're still making money and putting money in your account to buy gear, which is a pretty killer promo, and that runs through the 24th. So
Yeah, tell your friends to sign up.
time's ticking. Yeah, and we've had a fair number of people
Yeah.
dig in.
Yeah. We got a couple that are pressing on $2,000
Ooh,
already.
yikes.
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them. What would you-
Shows that the community's strong.
Yeah.
They're
Oh, yeah.
reaching out all the time. Like
Yeah.
I've even seen people post it on their stories on
Yeah.
Instagram and like talking about, hey, Insider's great. You know, if you have any questions, hit me DM and
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yep.
I want them. I hope there's people making $5,000 out of this. Just get a whole new setup.
Yeah.
Get yourself a BTX
Yeah.
just from
I don't know if I'd just go one big. I don't know if I'd do one big
a
purchase.
big item or multiples.
Oh, you
Yeah.
got to go big.
One big thing?
If you got $1,000, yeah, you got to buy something big. You can't piecemeal that.
No.
No, because, well, I mean, me anyway, I'm just thinking about the way I process things. It's like if I got a big chunk of change, I'm buying a big
The
thing.
one big thing?
Yeah, because I don't often have like a big chunk of money that I can put into one piece of gear, you know?
You're not going to buy like 300 peak refuels or mountain houses.
No, I'm not. I should.
Just stockpile for the next.
That'd
like,
probably be the
10
smart thing.
years.
That'd probably be the smart thing to do.
Yeah, because you need that.
Yeah,
it's
'cause
actually
I do.
something you do need.
I understand the psychology there, though, because you
Yeah.
can back your way into the small purchases. You can do like 2 this month, 3
Yep.
next month. You can do that. Yeah, having a big chunk of change.
Big
I
chunk of
guess you
change.
do go one
Yeah,
big purchase.
like I'm buying a new rangefinder, some new SIG binos, something big.
Yeah,
Yeah, new maybe a new Swaro. Have you had a chance to look through the new Swaros?
14s.
EL
those good ones?
12s?
I haven't
Is
yet.
that there?
Yeah.
Are they 14s
Gotcha.
or 12s?
They're 12s.
The
The new
12
12s?
range the 12
Yep, 12 range finder.
TA, so they're 12 by 42s.
Yep.
I haven't looked through them.
They're really sweet.
They're
Yeah.
that good.
I mean, they're an EL.
I mean,
With a- with a
I
rangefinder.
see it's really nice for like a guide
Oh yeah,
because now
I
you
see
can
that.
glass effectively with 12 power rather than having a 10 power, and you can have the range finding capability
Yeah.
built right in there for your client who're trying to like shoot ranges out to them as they're laying down, but the
Yeah.
glassing.
Yep.
having a little
Yeah,
more power.
this is a genuine, authentic plug, but I'll just throw that out there. Like shout out SIG because if they're not stabilized,
Yeah.
I shake so much now. Now knowing
Yep.
because you never know until you get the stabilized, right?
Yeah.
But like I'm so shaky compared to having a stabilized one. I don't know if I could even use it if I was a guy.
It is so hard to go back because I tested
is.
the I had the 14 pures over there.
Yeah.
So I had a pair of those I took on a hunt with Porter and was just using them. And like I still had my SIGs, obviously.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where it's like, sure, the Sword is phenomenal, but I love the features on the SIG so much that I still glass more with
Yeah.
the SIG
Mm-hmm.
just because it's
I just can't
stabilized.
go back.
I just know when I go to the archery range to shoot, or if I'm shooting like Vegas rounds in my basement, even those stabilized binos are
Yeah,
just
throw it up, see exactly where your
I
arrow's
can do it with one hand. I don't have to like
You don't have
rest
to do
it
the-
on
you don't
top
have
of
the
my
cam?
cam
Yeah.
and then like really take a good long look at it. Like I can just throw those up and throw on the little image stabilizing button and just see exactly where I hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty incredible.
To me, the features outweigh people who are like, oh, the glass quality and so on. Like features, man. Features are what are going to help me find animals.
Yep. You notice Brady's got a new hoodie on today? He's the
Yeah.
only one that's got it. We had a
How are you the one that got it?
Yeah, we had a contest
I
yesterday in a
don't know.
marketing meeting, and I think I won that. And they were like, "Oh, you want a new hoodie?" And I'm like, "Sick!"
But I already had this
And
last-
then I
I
show
had-
up to work today, and Brady
Brady's
has the
got the
only
new
one.
hoodie.
And I'm like, "Is that one mine?" I'm pretty sure that one's mine. I won it yesterday. You were in the meeting.
But I already wore it last week.
Mm-hmm.
I had a model for the PvP page.
So
Like-
what comes first? Is it who wore it first or who won the competition?
Who won the competition? I expect you to rip that thing off your inside
You are
shirt,
now
come
shirtless.
with it. Now shirtless.
Well,
And I get it.
Yeah.
But it's a new sick color. I like this color a lot.
Yeah.
I'm actually growing on me more than the regular black rock color.
Yeah.
I like that color a lot.
I do too.
We spent some time on that color. We also very purposefully fixed some fit changes. So this one, the other one fits great too. Don't get me wrong, like fits awesome. But this new colorway fits like absolutely
Yeah.
like perfect.
Color's funny, man, because you get these little tiny swatches. They're like a little inch by inch swatch, and Kevin will bring them in. He'll be like, "What do you think of this color?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It's really hard to." And then you get it larger, and you're like, "Yeah, I didn't really like that as much as I thought I would on the swatch." You know?
Yeah.
So it always feels like a gamble. So
It is a
when,
gamble.
Yeah, when something shows up and I look at it, I'm like, "Oh man, I'm glad we went with that. I really like the way that looked.
Me too.
The way it came out."
Yeah, I got a hunt in a couple weeks. I'm excited to wear it on.
Brady's going pig hunting. Did you know that?
I wish I was going pig hunting.
I'm really excited.
I went
Good
to
for
a high school basketball game last night with my youngest kid, and then this guy that I know lives there locally. Spent a little time in hunting camps with him. He comes up and sits down, and first thing he says to me, he's like, "Dude, I'm so depressed." He's like, "There's just no hunts going on."
Yeah.
He's like,
It's that time
"I
of
got
year.
nothing." He's like, "I'm kind of starting to look at applications," but he's like, "Man, I wished I was out hunting something somewhere."
That's how I get this time of year too.
I
Exact same
know.
way.
It's really hard, huh?
It's like it's hard for me. This is just my personal side, but like even going through Instagram and stuff right now, people are duck hunting and finishing up some of these late season whitetail hunts. I can't look at it. It'll put me in a bad mood if I see it.
Funk. You get FOMO.
Yeah. I mean, good for them. I'm happy that they're doing it, but it just makes me like, God dang it. You know,
Yeah.
why am I not out there?
I know. And then I hear Brady's going pig hunting.
I wish I was living that single life, man. Well, not single, but
What are
kidless
you
life.
gonna do with a pig?
I love food.
You gonna eat it?
Yeah.
You
I
get
eat
a
wild game meat
You get a mount
every
it?
night. Nah, I already have a pig
Skull
mount that I
mount?
shot when I was 12. So
Pig
like,
schools are sick.
They
I
are.
yeah,
love
and
pig
that's the
schools.
thing I'm most excited for, because when I had my pig mounted way back in the day, I got a shoulder mount of it.
Yeah.
And I was really excited for the skull. I brought obviously both the hide and the skull to the taxidermist. Like, yeah, I want this, this skull boiled out or beetled for a European thing. And I went back to pick up the mount, and the skull wasn't there. He's like, yeah, I don't know what happened to it. I lost the skull. I'm like, what's going
It's
on
on his
here?
wall somewhere at his
Yeah,
house.
somewhere else. And I'm like, that was a really cool hog, and I really wanted the skull.
Yeah.
So I didn't have one. From
I got
that,
one
so.
really good one. One really good pig school in my
Do you?
office. I think they look sick.
Yeah, big,
They're
big
awesome.
tusks.
I,
Oh,
I-
yeah.
I actually really enjoy the meat, and a lot of people don't. But like, maybe it's just
How,
me being
how big a
weird.
pig we aiming for here?
Big?
Yeah.
I just want a big old nasty
Like, how
looking
big do they
razorback.
get?
300 pounds is what I've been.
Ooh, my pig was not 300 pounds.
Dude, a 300-pound pig? That's a big animal.
Yeah, because the
That's
one I shot in Texas back in the day, that was 225.
Really?
We weighed on a scale,
Everything's bigger in Texas.
and then
We'll find out.
the guy in Gomez has been sending me some pictures of the pigs they've killed in previous years, and he sent me one over the weekend. He's like, "Oh yeah, that one's probably like close to 300. It's got good tusks, got a big cut in his ear," and I'm
Dude.
like, "That's an old warrior." of a
Can
pig.
you mention where you're going? I am curious where you're going. Can you say like, I obviously want the state, but if you're not willing to say the state, can you tell me like general, north, south?
It's west of here.
Okay, got it. Got it. I love how protective you are of pigs.
Gotta protect my hunts
Yeah.
at all costs.
Yeah,
Well,
big
that'd
pigs.
be fun. You got the gun ready to go?
Yeah, I'm starting to do some more load development. I'm taking my 7 PRC. That's
Gotcha.
Sig Sawtooth.
Yeah. Nice gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like that. I'll do a number on a pig.
But the only downside is, so like everyone knows, we've had discussions before about my distaste, I guess, towards suppressors in hunting.
Mm-hmm.
But I own one. I own a suppressor. And 'cause I brought it to the SIG art games when we shot up the 6.5s. So I really wanted to use my suppressor and finally take an animal with a suppressor on a hunt. But the place I'm going, the state does not allow suppressors for hunting.
Now
So
I
I
definitely know where you're going.
have to swap her off.
Texas.
I
Yeah.
have to swap her off. Well, there's pigs in other states too. You know some of that?
Yeah.
How much is that going to change your impact point?
Well, I'm just dialing my loads right now for the non-suppressed version. So
Gotcha.
I'm just tweaking them a little bit. Like I don't trust just like modifying things or dialing the scope over. I'm dialing it in for a non-suppressed load right now.
Got you.
Are you
Then
going?
we
Is
switch
the
back.
family going? Just you.
Just me.
Good for you.
Well, other guys too. Lane's going too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Right on. That'll be fun. We'll look forward to hearing a report back on how it
I'll
went.
bring some bacon back.
Making
Gonna
some
bring home the
bacon.
bacon.
I hope that you actually do bring some bacon.
I will. I'll try.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Big,
Just make sure
big
it's
old
a
ham.
piglet.
Yeah,
Piglet
exactly
bacon.
right. Well, last week we dove into draw odds, and it was really popular. That was like our highest first day downloads of
Yeah,
any episode that we've ever done, which I very much appreciate.
Yeah, thank you everyone
So,
for checking it out.
I hope that you guys that are listening continue to get some value out of the podcast. And then I would love it if you would, subscribe if you watch it on YouTube or refer a friend to the podcast. Trying to grow the podcast and get more listeners. So it's good to know that there's some new people that are chiming in and listening, and we're getting more downloads, but continue to like it and share it, as the kids say.
Yeah. Like and share.
Like and share.
Smash that like
Smash
button.
that like button. But on the tail end of that, I kind of promised last week that we would dive deeper into maybe some of the other states that we didn't cover. So I wanted to run through some of those to help you guys understand the draw systems a little bit better. So last week we covered 3 states. So I've got kind of the rest of the states that I would suggest that you think about applying for. And then I really wanted to dive into other tools that you have within your Insider account to help you, including filtering.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk about filtering with you guys, how you use filtering, and then also how much you guys use maps.
During the app season?
During your app season. Because
Yep,
I think we
yep.
often think of just using maps during field navigation. At least that's how I think about them in a lot of ways.
No, that's not the right way you're supposed to be thinking about maps, Trail.
Right, but you can and you should use maps throughout the entire application process to help you pick the unit. That
Why would you want to
is-
apply for something
is
you
the best
haven't
fit.
looked at on a map?
Yeah, well, I've done it a number of times. It doesn't always work out. And sometimes you draw really good tags in a state that you didn't expect to draw, and you show up to the unit, and you're like, "Oh shit, this is what I thought it was."
Yeah, that's why you should look at the map before you apply there.
If I'd have looked at a map or two, I probably would have known that maybe it wasn't my favorite type of hunting,
it was a thick jungle and you couldn't do anything.
or it was just like an open, it's just
Yeah.
nothing going on and roads everywhere.
Yeah.
Still have a good hunt, but yeah, I mean, I have a style of hunting that I like, and that's a good point. And you do too, and you do too.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes you kind of gravitate and like a certain type of hunt, and not every unit is going to be conducive to the style of hunting that you're proficient at or that you even enjoy. So
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to be talking about, like with filtering and then maps. And then obviously unit profiles are kind of tied to filtering in a sense.
yep.
And that information is all laid out really, really well for you on there. Like what types of,
Yep.
habitat, vegetation types, open, is it, thickly jungle, like knowing that is really key.
Yep,
And obviously, like we said, jumping into maps too, but
for sure. So let's start out. Let's hit states. So we'll work our way. God, that's a tongue twister. Work our way through. Usually on my way down here, I try to make a phone call to somebody to try to get my mouth moving
Yeah.
a little bit because I can't. And then this morning I didn't.
It's a real thing.
It is real, especially for me.
good thing you've
Yeah.
never called me because I'm always sleeping at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to make that a point when I get up at 4 a.m. there in
Just call
Utah. I'm
Brady.
going to call Brady.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing,
So
man?
It's 3 my time.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What are you?
I'm like,
what-
just went to bed like 2 hours ago.
hey, what are you doing, bud?
I'd answer you.
You.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk Colorado. So Colorado, I want to talk about first and foremost because, as you guys have probably seen, if you're on the World Wide Web, they made a decision in the commission meeting to make a pretty significant change to their draw system starting in 2028.
Yep.
So you got 2025 through 2027 with the current draw system. You're gonna have to probably make some decisions for a lot of people on what you want to do because 2028 is going to change how you look at Colorado.
And even though like Colorado apps are way out there right now, like you should really be thinking about what you're going to do in Colorado now.
Are you guys always thinking about Colorado?
yeah.
I am.
Allegedly.
Just because there's so much opportunity.
I am. I'm always thinking about Colorado because it's like it's a state that you can pretty well plan to hunt something.
Yeah.
Yeah, deer, elk, whatever it might be, even antelope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was a guy for a long time. I was like, yeah, I'm not buying points. I'm not doing it in Colorado for antelope. But at some point, I was
really
like,
good
what a
state for-
moron.
It's a really good state for antelope.
Really good state for antelope. So I've been buying points and even hunted it, I guess.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
we hunted
went out and hunted it. So do you want to run us through, Brady, right now, current system for Gal, I am from Southern Utah.
I kind of want to handle the changes that are coming.
Do you want to hit changes first?
Well, no, we're not changes first. I think you can go. You run through the draw system.
Okay, you want to hit changes?
And I want to hit changes
Okay.
and how that's going to affect you because
Yep.
you need to kind of know what it's going to be. Which, yeah, first you do that and I'll do this
Okay.
and then we'll compare.
Okay, so currently for deer, elk, antelope, black bear, Colorado is a true preference point state, meaning that the people with the most preference points that apply for any given hunt are going to draw the permit. So there's no random component of that draw. So if you
Yep.
have less points than it takes or has been taking to draw any given hunt that you've been looking at, you're not going to draw it, right? So it's a true preference point state. When you dive into species like moose, sheep, mountain goat, it's kind of a hybrid. You have to build 3 preference points before you're actually even really entered into the draw.
Yeah, those like weighted points.
Yep. So those are preference points. And then after that, it's kind of a weighted point system. And you can choose to apply if you want without buying a weighted point. You're still in the draw, but your odds obviously don't get better over time because you're not buying that weighted point. But you did have some chance to draw. And that's kind of like the long and short of it. It's pretty basic. Colorado's like been one of those states where you can kind of predict, and we've talked about it, that you can kind of predict when you are going to be able to draw any given hunt that you're interested in.
Yep.
So it's pretty straightforward currently.
Currently. Yeah.
And we're moving to a system in 2028, which do you want to dive in?
There's a lot on the.
There's a lot on the dock.
Yeah. So, first of all, we'll go. So I have all the stuff printed off here. There's going to be an
I
article.
love when Brady shows up with a pile of printed out
and
documents.
highlighted.
Highlighted. There's a bunch of notes on there. Yes,
Reminds me
yes.
of college.
You know it's going to be a good one. So there's also going to be an article on GOHUNT, so you can check this out to read through it yourself, to understand it, to grasp it. Because like we're saying, like you need to know. I think you need to know what these changes are now before you start dropping your app in this year.
For sure.
Because it could change how you apply now, and then like maybe you want to burn points now, maybe you want to start saving it for later. Like there's a lot of different strategies, or maybe if you're in the moose, sheep, goat game, how that's going to play out for you because now it's going to change up that draw system.
I want to get Lorenzo's gut reaction after, because you probably understand the changes and know them, but I'm interested in like your gut. We haven't really talked about it. So
No, I haven't talked.
I'd like to hear.
I haven't talked to anyone about it.
Gotcha. I'd like to hear what your gut reaction is.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first type we got going on. So draw type. Now we're gonna have a split draw.
Okay.
Okay. So primary draw for all deer, elk, bear, antelope, turkey license. Quota for each will be divided 50-50. Half of the quota going to the preference point draw and half going to bonus draw. If the quota cannot be evenly split, the extra license will go to the preference point draw, and this also eliminates the previous hybrid draw is now removed and replaced with the above split draw methodology.
So if you're familiar, we'll talk about Utah, but it's essentially Utah's system.
Yep.
So you're going to take half the number. You're going to take half the number of permits for any given hunt code. And you're going to give those to the people with the most preference points, and the other half you're going to randomly allocate with weight given to the number of points you have.
Yep.
Meaning, the more points you have, the better your odds in the random portion of that draw.
Yep. So now you have a chance. So like you might want to throw down in 2028. We're talking here, obviously. You might want to throw down on some of those more coveted hunts that you did before did not have a chance to draw.
Yeah, and there was also a new quota split there, right? So
Yep. Now we're going straight 75-25. No more high demand, low demand, but 75 residents.
Yep.
Take allocation, 25% non-resident.
Which is still pretty generous.
It is.
Yeah, and
when you look at the other states, it's pretty generous.
Yeah, there's a lot of still beef I've seen on the internet about people who live there, like why are we still giving 25% to non-residents? Because a lot of other states don't. And then they always bring up, like states that we live in here, Nevada, like we give it 10%. It's like, I wish we could give more.
Yeah, we just don't have the animals.
We don't have the animals. I wish we could give more. So it's always a battle there, but 75-25 is still really generous.
Yeah. That's one thing that I was like somewhat concerned about because as a non-resident of a lot of states, it's nice.
49?
Yeah. It's nice that they do give such a gracious percentage to non-residents. I can't see Colorado residents being like, hey, what the hell?
Yeah.
What gives? But I guess, as a non-resident, I feel gracious and a lot of gratitude.
But it's interesting too, right away, like they're removing the hybrid draw, because before non-residents never had a chance to be entered in the hybrid draw, because the hybrid draw always went after
the primary draw.
Yeah, so all the quotas already met for the non-residents
Yep.
beforehand. So like
it was a moot point.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else do you got?
We got allocation rules will apply to both first and second choice in the primary draw.
Oh wait, what?
Yep. So allocation rules, the 75-25,
Okay.
apply to the first and second choices
Okay.
in the primary draw.
Yep.
If there's insufficient resident demand after going to the first and second choices, any excess quota may go to non-residents
Gotcha.
with the quote soft cap.
Do you know, is there anything in that about using your points if you draw subsequent choices?
I'll get to that.
If you draw a second or third or fourth choice, am I going to burn my points?
Yeah,
Do you know?
we're going to jump down to preference points and probably cover that here now.
Okay.
Now obtaining points, preference points are species specific, with the exception of turkey, because now you can still get you can technically get 2 turkey preference points a year. You can do the fall draw and the spring draw. Points are accrued 2 ways now: purchasing a point during the primary draw and unsuccessful in drawing a first choice license during the primary draw. So second choice does not burn your points.
Okay. That's good.
The first choice preference point hunt code for each species is now eliminated. So before you had that really long, like 999 dash whatever point code you could put in, that's being eliminated.
So you just have to apply for a hunt as your first choice, and if you're unsuccessful, you get a point.
Yep.
And there's a point
Or
fee.
you can purchase a point during the primary draw period. So it's a different way to actually purchase
gotcha.
it now.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's probably eliminating that because maybe it's just confusing.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Point fees. Now there's going to be point fees.
Kind of sucks. I mean, I get it, but
Yeah. I saw, and it was interesting too. I should have grabbed it. I had some screenshots of it because, I keep receipts of everything. But there was chatter on the internet of a bunch of residents were complaining about these point fees, that now they have to spend like whatever it is, $150, $200 as a resident to buy points in their home state. And it's like, well, it's kind of the same thing in a lot of other states where even residents have to buy points. And I don't know. They,
so what's the point fee? $15 for
$15 for residents and $30 for non-residents.
30.
And like Colorado has to make up money somewhere because they're eliminating all those non-resident OTC archery elk hunters. And so that's why there's a lot of people slamming these residents who are complaining about this point fee thing for the resident side, because like, well, you eliminate a bunch of hunts for non-resident OTC archery elk hunters, and you got to make up that fee somewhere else.
Those are just going to pile into.
So there's a lot of this chatter going on.
How much was it to buy a point before this?
None. You just had to buy the hunting license,
And that was it,
the annual game license, and then apply for a point, and then you pay the app fee and then get the point.
And I should clarify too, that's just for deer, elk, bear, antelope, and turkey.
Gotcha.
The 15 and 30.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, and like it's just the way it goes, right? State agency has to run and operate. It gets hard when you're like applying for kids.
Yeah.
I think of applying my 2 kids that want to hunt, and myself. I mean, I'm gonna be into it. Some money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, just deer, elk, and antelope. You're into it. What? $90. $90 just per person. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus the hunt license.
Plus the hunting license you still need.
Yeah, and I should say I don't know what the youth fee is going to be, if it's going to be different. I don't
Didn't
know.
Didn't say anything on youth here. So I'm assuming that means everything's going to be the same.
Yeah. Sometimes youth get a break, but even still, it's like, But I get it. Is what it is. It's like, how much do you care, right?
Yeah. So this is like, you're kind of in a way coughing up money to help out the state of Colorado. So, and as we know, the state of Colorado needs a lot of
help. What changes to moose, sheep, goat?
So the draw method now for bighorn sheep, mountain goat, and moose is going to 100% bonus draw. So this is totally replacing the other weighted draw for the species that you mentioned earlier. So that's going to shake things up. So now everyone has a chance.
You still have to build 3 points.
So still do 3 points.
Yep, and then just bonus.
Yep.
That's okay.
So does that change how you're going to do things? Are you in the?
I'm in. Yeah.
You're in.
I don't ever buy the weighted point, so I built my 3 points,
and then just apply.
and then I just apply in the random chance for the license or the app fee, just in hopes that maybe lightning would strike and I get lucky and draw a tag. But No, like
It's not going to change. Are you going to still stay? Are you thinking about?
Yeah, no, I'd stay with it. Yeah, I mean, I'll stay with it because I have the 3 preference points, right? That I built up for those species. So I'll just apply and hope I get lucky. I don't expect to, but it's like, it's a chance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw Desert Bighorn is going to say the same, totally random.
Oh, yep. That's the same. Totally random.
Yeah.
But the big thing too, though, now these are moving to the moose, sheep, and goat once in a lifetime harvest.
Yeah, which is good.
So everyone has hunted them before and taken them. They're not involved in that once in a lifetime. So everything going forward now it'll be once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Which I am in favor of.
Well, I'm in favor because I haven't drawn it.
Okay, I haven't drawn. Yeah. Everyone's in favor who hasn't drawn.
If I had drawn one, or
99.9% of people are in favor of that.
Yeah. And I do know people who have drawn them multiple times.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
In other states. Let me look through some other changes.
So
those are the big ones.
Yeah, those are
the big ones that everyone
ones.
should be kind of aware about. I mean, there's other smaller
So
changes
in
too.
essence, you're basically what you're looking at is less permits being on the table for people with points, like guaranteed permits.
Yep.
If you've built up the points. So guys that have spent a lot of time building up a lot of points kind of take it in the shorts.
Yeah.
You really do.
Because there's less permits because 50% of those are now going to be randomly allocated.
Yeah, this is kind of the same thing that happened, what was that, 2015 when Arizona switched it up to allow people to have a slight chance.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were pissed off at those high point levels because now it's going to take them longer to actually guarantee a tag.
Yep. So what do you think it's going to do for people? You've got 3 years essentially to decide. What are you going to do? Do you burn your points?
Are you asking me personally?
Yeah, you personally.
Yeah. Like I've been chasing a certain deer tag, which I could have had the last 2 years. We talked about this on a previous podcast. Just wasn't a good time in life to, kids and work and family and everything. But you bet your ass I'm going to draw it. I'm going to put in for it before 2028.
Because
like,
2028,
sure.
that
the point creep's going to
It was interesting.
jump astronomically.
It was interesting as you read through the article. One of the primary reasons that they went to a new draw system was to simplify it, they said, and then also to reduce point creep.
Reduce point creep.
Do you think this reduces point creep?
Not at all.
I don't think so either.
No.
I don't think that it does it?
No.
Doesn't make sense to me.
No, it's going to do the exact opposite.
You'll pull some people out of randomly, scattered out through
but
it.
Not enough.
No, and then the number of people that with max points
Are
is
just gonna keep
it's
going.
going to increase
going to
because there's
increase.
less permits available to people with more points.
Yeah.
Yep.
But for a new person now, it's like, well, now I can shoot for the stars and apply for the best of the best too,
Yeah.
But I still don't have a great chance, obviously, but I could. So maybe they're hoping to get more money from people who maybe like I've crossed off that state as like, I'm never going to draw a tag. Even though you can, but they never want the quality of tag they're probably chasing or the quality of hunt they actually want.
I do. It's interesting because, like, I don't necessarily like it for deer because of where I'm at for deer right now. It's basically forcing my hand that I have to do this in the next 3 years, which I probably would anyways, but I just don't like the thought of being, forcing my hand.
Yep.
But for elk, I mean, I do kind of love that I have a chance now at 2 to a 1, 10, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because
I have a chance now, which is awesome, which I never would have ever.
61, 76,
Yeah.
throw them all out there.
Like, I never would have had a chance at those otherwise.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just too far behind.
That's
I'm not old enough.
And that's the interesting thing is how many people do you think it's going to suck out of other pools, because they, maybe they've just been buying a preference point, right? Or maybe they've been
that's me.
Right. Now,
I have a lot of elk points, but I never apply for an elk
Me
hunt
too.
because I don't
yeah,
prioritize elk hunts.
you'll apply for those
But now-
top of the
Now
heap.
I might as well. Might as well throw my name in now. Because it makes sense. We always talk about that all the time. If you have a chance, you might as well throw it in there. But like the types of
Would
elk
you
hunts
though?
I
'Cause
want are the best of the best.
I don't know if I'm going to burn my elk points, though, because if you're giving weight to the amount of
right.
bonus points, like, I'm going to have a better chance than most.
Yep. Well,
I don't know if I'm going to burn my elk points, actually, because I would love to draw some of those
right,
big-time elk
those
tags.
top tier.
Yeah, and I'm not going to burn them on the preference. I won't ever catch it, especially now, obviously. But now at least I have a better weighted.
This is like
chance.
one of those ones. It's really because there's so many hunts
Yeah.
in Colorado. You have archery, muzzleloader, rifle, late rifle that are all draw tags, and you have, I don't know, 800 different units, right? There's a lot of units and a lot of hunts that you can apply for in Colorado. It's going to be really interesting. It's like one of those ones that's really hard to even wrap my head around, like what might potentially happen. Like what's going to happen to like a mid-tier unit that's been like 5 points?
It's going to jump. That's my gut.
Yeah, it might. But maybe, I don't know.
That's my gut.
Yeah, because you have 7 or 8 points right now. You can't chase what you want. You can try to dump them the next 3 years and drop down to a 5 point.
But maybe
that's my gut feel.
Yeah, maybe those people though that maybe they would have been happy if they drew or burned their points. Say they have 10 points and they want to draw one of those tags. Maybe now though they're like, now I actually have a chance at a 201 tag. So maybe I'm going to pull my app and go that direction. And it kind of opens up
mid-tier
opens
stuff?
up his spot. Maybe there's just fewer people that apply for those like mid-tier low point units.
Yeah, that could be too. A lot of people might just be chasing the top of the top.
Yeah. I guess my hope personally is that like they retain the system where you don't, this is like wanting my cake and eat it too, but like they don't eliminate my points if I draw a second choice.
Yeah.
Because then I can like swing for the fences. Maybe I apply for one of those units as my first choice, and then just apply for an easy to draw that has been an OTC unit as a second choice, and I pick that up every single year. I still got to go hunting, and then I have my name in the hat for a top tier unit.
Yeah,
it's gonna be really really interesting. It's gonna be quite a shakeup.
It is.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right though. I think you probably see a lot of people like if those upper echelons of points, I think you're going to see people like dump on those points the next 3 years. I think you're going to see a lot of mid-tier hunts that could have been drawn getting taken over by guys that have more points that they're never going to draw those top units, and they're just going to dump them on one that they can guarantee themselves that they draw before it happens.
Yeah, it's like
that's what I think.
It's like my dad now. I can't remember exactly how many points he has, but I think he has like 23 points, 24 points for elk in Colorado. So he might be one of those guys that's like, because now he can never catch the top tier. And I've talked about it before. We calculate out for him. He won't draw that tag until he's 140 years old. Yeah. Based on how the draw system works, and there's just no chance. But now he has a chance. So does he stay in that now and actually apply for it? Because now he slightly has a chance, or is he going to just burn those points somewhere else and just to go elk hunting because he's getting older and older and wants to chase a dream and just hunt a big bull somewhere else?
Depends on people's objectives, man. That's where it gets dicey.
Everyone's going to make their personal choice.
Everybody's objectives are a little bit different,
The one problem I had with this, so I don't know if any of you guys watched the commission meeting on Thursday, but I watched a giant chunk of it.
I was working.
I was watching football.
It's like I should say watch, listen. There's really nothing to watch.
Yeah.
So like I had it open on YouTube and I was listening to it while I was doing other shit. The thing that I found was funny though. So I got down to like talking about a bunch of these draw changes, talking about this. And this is a commission, okay? And there was a lot of the commission members sitting there laughing at some of these things. So like I don't even know what any of this means.
Really?
And then they would go to a vote.
No way.
That I got a lot of DMs from people too saying the same thing. Like, what was going on in there? Why were these people laughing about things that we're discussing about and saying, I don't know what we're talking about right now. I don't understand any of this. I don't understand how preference points works. I don't understand this point creep thing. And these are people on the commission talking about this, and then they're instantly going to a vote and voting on it.
Can I ask you, do you expect anything different from Colorado?
Yeah.
I don't expect
the bad thing
different.
is it's not entirely uncommon. Like I've been
that's why I'm saying I don't expect
been,
anything different. When you get to know these commissions,
I've been to RAC meetings in Utah,
bad.
and I don't want to say anything bad, but like there are definitely people on the RAC that just they're not they don't have a passion for it. They're not clued into it. They just don't care. They might work for an agency, or I don't, whatever it might be. I don't want to get too deep, but like they're definitely, you can watch body language of people on these different committees and you're just like, it's like a real knife in the side because it means so much to so many people, myself included. It's like everything that I look forward to. Right. And when you see somebody on that's just like, whatevs, I'm here to make a vote, but whatever. It just sucks.
Cause there was at one point where, I can't remember exactly the timestamp. I wish I wrote it down, but like they had just got done voting on something. And they voted and approved whatever it was they were talking about, which was one of these changes. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, can you jump through and explain this right now? And they already went and voted. And then the guy's like, I could explain it, but we already just voted for it. So why am I doing it now? They still wanted clarity of what they just voted on after they made a stamp that, yeah, this is now approved.
Mm-hmm.
And they were still trying to clarify, which is very concerning. Why are you guys voting on things and not extending this process more, figuring it out, asking the right questions when you're there, doing their research ahead of time, which obviously is probably really hard for some of these people. This is not their day-to-day thing, maybe, but like getting the
I
explanation
mean,
you need
isn't
to.
it their day-to-day thing? No,
It
they're
should be,
making
yes, they're making changes
rules and
on it.
laws on it.
Yeah.
So like that just didn't sit well for me, and a bunch of people, like I said, who sent me a message about that when I had posted. I was sitting on there like, did you catch that? They were laughing and like not understanding. And I'm like, yeah, that was very, very weird.
Yeah, that's disconcerting. That's a bummer.
Yeah, because like there's a lot of people that were standing up for it in that meeting. Like these are people's like 30 years of points. That's 30 years of their life we're dealing with right now. This is a big change to try to do for those people who've been waiting and waiting for that quality thing. They've been, not taking opportunities elsewhere and just waiting it out. And then here we are just willy-nilly laughing about it and just voting on things that we don't know.
Yeah. I read a comment, or it might have been an article, but somebody said basically if they could go back in time and look at, if they could, look through a crystal ball and see what this was going to turn into. I think they said that inevitably what they would have done is just make it all random draw. They thought that was more fair.
I did a video last week that's going to be on YouTube channel a little bit later, but I was talking about point systems, and like, we've said a lot, but point systems are broken, man.
Yeah, man,
really
it's so hard. Do you think is random the best system? Like purely random?
I'll go back and forth on it because I like knowing that I can plan for the future.
Yeah,
and know when
or is a true preference point system the best system?
I know, but then it's not good for anyone who missed out when it started. Like we're kind of good because we got into it at decent time, But like people are just starting out right now. Maybe you're 16 years old. You don't have extra money yet, and you're just waiting to start applying, and all of a sudden you start applying when you get a good job. Like you're way behind the curve. You'll never draw some of those tags.
I've always argued that I thought random was the best option, but it's hard. It's hard one to stomach. And then the thing about it is, it's interesting, is we talk all the time. We talked about Wyoming last week, and we said, if things never change, I don't know how a state like Wyoming, specifically when you talk about moose and sheep, I don't know how they don't change their system at some point.
Yeah.
I would think you would have to, because people are just not especially, maybe Wyoming doesn't care. They don't seem to care that much about non-residents.
Yeah, like I just don't apply in some of those states. I know have no chance.
Yeah, but I guess it goes to show you that things can change. Like, that's a pretty major shakeup in Colorado.
And it's scary too that things can change, because you could be the guy who's banking on I'm going to eventually draw this tag.
You could be the guy with
pulled the rug right underneath me.
With 30 points, it just takes it in the shorts for a reduced number of permits available to you in the preference point draw.
And I understand when people say, dude, nothing in life is fair. Like, I understand that point too, because I wasn't born way back in the day and got this sick piece of property somewhere, in one of these states. And
why weren't you though?
You were.
Because it would be so nice if we were hunting your place.
Hunting my place that my family owned forever. Like, it's not fair. I wasn't born then. It's like, it's just life kind of too. And it's like, I wish we could make these systems though a little more, fair in a sense, but we never will.
Yeah, I would say we still have it pretty good, but you're right. But and things do change. I would just say stay on top of it, right, and try to plan accordingly.
Yeah. That's why you guys got to stay on top of changes. Like, changes are important to learn about and read about and understand how it's going to impact you or your family or your just dreams of hunting certain things. And it's not doom and gloom by any means, but just be understanding of the system and how it's going to work and how to use it to your advantage too.
That's a good breakdown in Colorado, I think. Plan accordingly, but like I said, you probably got some decisions to make. And I think you're right. I think knowing what's going to happen in 2028 is going to impact the way that you apply between now and then.
Yes.
Yeah.
It should. So take it into account. You want to jump down to Utah? Talk Utah real quick?
I'm just going to check on... so I was just seeing who's writing our Colorado app strategy, and just wanted to let people know again to definitely check out the app strategy for Colorado, because I'm sure Nate's going to be covering a lot of the stuff and how it's going to be impacting. Taking into account, yeah.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that.
I thought we talked Utah because Utah's also seen a little bit of change, which we talked about in their mule deer plan. But essentially, what you need to know in Utah is you've got general season deer, basically. So you got general season deer that you can apply for, and then you've got limited entry species. So limited entry elk, limited entry deer, which are like those prime units they managed for a higher buck to doe ratio. It's a better hunt. Antelope is a limited entry species. And then you've got limited entry species like bighorn sheep, moose, mountain goat, and bison. So those limited entry species, those are all managed on a system like we just talked about that Colorado's going to. So it's a split system. So 50% of the permits are going to be allocated to the people with the most bonus points, and then 50% are going to be randomly allocated with weight given to the number of bonus points that you have. And that's kind of everything you need to know. Non-residents can apply for any and all species in the state of Utah that you want to. And I would say if you're going to buy the $120 hunting license to apply in Utah, you should apply for all species.
Yeah.
So you have to pay an application fee per species, but every year there's people that draw random permits. When you dive into general season deer, so you can apply for general season deer, that's actually on a preference point system, meaning it's a true preference. So the people with the most points that apply for any given hunt for general season deer are going to draw the permits. There was a change this year. I know you loved it, where you can no longer apply for dedicated hunter and general season deer in the same year. You got to pick one or the other.
You got to pick one or the other.
What are you going to pick?
Ooh.
What are you going to do?
So dramatic.
I'll pick the correct one at the time that I need to drop my app in.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah,
What do you do for general season deer in Utah?
I've just been collecting points.
Have you?
Yeah.
You're that guy with like 18
Yes.
preference points.
Correct.
That's hilarious.
Correct.
You gonna have somebody piggyback you and split them
Yeah, probably.
at some point? Draw a group app.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing to do if you build up a bunch of preference points in the state of Utah. But
it's definitely interesting
yeah,
because like there's a lot of things to think about, because sometimes you can draw a dedicated, but a lot of times you can draw a general too. But it's like, which one do you want to throw the risk in that year? Which one do you want to try to gain some points on for future years?
the thing with dedicated is there's only so many spots, and it depends on how many people are coming out, because it's a 3-year program, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
every unit has an allotment of permits, and as you have people coming out of the program on the 3rd year, you're going to have that many spots open and available, but you don't know how many spots there's going to be.
Yeah, that's why I always dive in those reports and try to calculate it myself and try to okay, maybe what's going on here?
Yeah.
What's the trend kind of been? Look at previous years and
Yeah,
try to figure it out. But
dedicated hunter's not for everybody, because you do have to pay.
It's
You
a
have
lot
to
of money
do,
you
you
have
have
to
to do
pay.
service hours. It's a higher permit fee that you got to pay.
The service hours is why I've never done it.
Yeah.
and sometimes it's frustrating too, because you realize you're locked into a unit.
Yeah.
And that's that's the secondary reason.
Yeah.
It's a good thing and it can be a curse.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you might get intel on a really nice big buck on a unit that's not the one that you're locked into.
Yeah.
or you just have a bunch of weather changes that you just can't control either. You're like, well, I'm here.
You might have a terrible winter, you might say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might have, yeah.
It can be tough. I do like dedicated hunter program. For those of you that may not be aware what it is, basically you draw into it. You're in that program for 3 years. You can shoot 2 bucks in 3 years, and you have to do 32 service hours, or you can purchase those out at a cost of $40 per hour, which ain't
Yeah, that
cheap.
cost went up last year and boo.
Yeah. Here's one little caveat of the dedicated hunter program I find interesting is if you don't complete your service hours, don't ask me how I know this, but I know this. If you don't buy out your hours, or you don't complete your hours by the time your program is up, you can't apply again the following year or any year. It's not like a time limit on that.
Really?
Yeah. So you're just locked out until you
Either
basically
pay it or
do your hours.
So this is funny. So I got a friend who I've been talking to, and he's got a year left on his dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a horrible time in the unit he's hunting. Absolutely a horrible time. He's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to pay my hours off. He's so he's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to hunt general deer in Utah ever again. He's like, I don't even know if I care to. He's like, I will just not do it, because he's like, I'm having such a horrible time. And he's like, obviously, because it's like
He's just mad at Utah.
just so mad.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I'll just not pay it and not go, and then I know I'm never going to be able to hunt Utah again until I pay it. But like, I'm just kind of okay with that. Like, why am I going to go up there and waste another year of hunting and grind it out and just see fork and horns and all this stuff? And
Yeah.
this is kind of funny. His mentality. Obviously, he's
I get
joking
it.
on it.
He's frustrated. I get that.
Yeah.
But
The hard part is then you can't apply for anything like elk, bison, any of that stuff. Like you're locked out, which is kind of a bummer.
That is a bummer. How do you know this trail?
My oldest kid, maybe, and maybe my wife at some point might be locked out.
I'm hoping I draw a limited entry tag so I don't have to hunt dedicated again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that. I think it's any big buck that I've killed in part because I've been enrolled into the dedicated hunter program, because you do get to hunt all 3 seasons, archery, and then some of those units have got 2 rifle seasons, so you get to hunt the early and the late. So you basically get to hunt 4 seasons in some of those: archery, muzzleloader, and 2 rifle.
Late archery.
Extended. Oh yeah, you can hunt the extended on the Wasatch or wherever. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, there's a lot of hunting to be done if you are enrolled in
for
that program.
resident. I think it's phenomenal
For sure,
because you get the opportunity to scout a lot more, especially if it's close to your back door and like you hunt all the time. Basically, you can really tie down a buck or bull or whatever it may be, but
tie one down
because you live so close there all the time. But
yep. We'll burn through some of these other ones real quick. So Idaho has a controlled draw, so it's like limited entry essentially for deer, elk, antelope. So they have some units that are set aside, some hunts that are set aside for special hunts, meaning that they manage those for a better experience. You can choose to apply in that draw, and if you do apply for deer, elk, and antelope, you can apply for all 3 of those species, or you can apply for one of the other species, being moose, sheep, or mountain goat. You have to pick one of those species.
So the or.
But you can't apply for one of those species and control deer, elk, and antelope.
So let's clarify. So if I wanted to apply for a controlled hunt for deer, can I apply for a controlled hunt for sheep?
You cannot. But you can
Decision
apply
time.
for a controlled hunt for deer, controlled hunt for elk, and a controlled hunt for antelope. You could apply for all 3 if you wanted. Or you can pick one of the others.
And then reverse is opposite. So if I want to go sheep, I can't go the other ones.
Nope. And consequently, and the reason that I think it's kind of good actually is consequently, if you apply for moose, sheep, or mountain goat, your odds are a little bit better for those species than they are in other states because you have to pick one.
Yep.
So, and you do have to buy a hunting license, which is $185, real stinger.
Yeah, and you're fronting money.
And you're fronting the cost, if only for sheep.
Yeah,
moose,
that's what I'm referring to, because that's the scary one when you're fronting all that.
You have to front the cost. If you apply for controlled deer and antelope, you don't have to front the cost of those permits, which is kind of nice.
And do you like their system?
It is totally random, which I like. I do like it. I like it because it's random. I don't mind buying the hunting license because then I can also try to buy an OTC tag when that opens up. We talked about that fiasco. And I do like it. The other thing I like about it is that the odds for those species are better because fewer people can apply for it. Most people apply for deer, elk, and antelope. The other thing is I feel like it's a value judgment, right? So like if I'm a guy, I just want to draw a tag of some species, I can apply for that one, deer, elk, and antelope, because I got 3 chances versus one of the other ones. And I'll leave that to people that are like really dying and they've got that on their bucket list to, hunt sheep or moose.
Yeah. So let me just dive in a little deeper maybe. Have you ever drawn a controlled hunt?
No.
I know.
Never have, because I was swinging for
I was going to ask. That's the next one.
Fences.
You're shooting the fences. That's why.
Yeah.
But you could.
Yep. I just swing for the fences. I know a lot of people that have, and there's a lot of hunts that have relatively decent odds. Like if I just wanted to go hunt, especially antelope, I could draw an antelope tag. Some of them are guaranteed for archery. You just have to apply for them, right? So I do like it. I think Idaho's a great state. I like the random component of it. Have you ever drawn a control tag up there?
No.
I would have thought as lucky as you have you to draw.
Porter is the one that spread this, how lucky I am in the draws.
So you're not really that lucky.
No one's as lucky as Porter.
That's true.
I drew a bighorn sheep tag in New Mexico, a desert tag in New Mexico. And ever since that day, somehow I've become the luckiest person ever in the draws. Meanwhile, Porter is drawing
everything.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is don't have Porter apply for Idaho, because I guarantee he hasn't. Because
he'll draw.
He'll draw.
If he applies there, he'll draw.
Let's test it.
We should.
We should test the theory.
Let's pick one moose. Let's pick moose and make Porter apply for moose in Idaho.
See if he draws.
See if he draws. Yeah, I like Idaho. And I buy the hunting license and then I throw my name in the hat for deer, elk, and antelope controlled, and I just try to basically upgrade my general season permit that I've probably purchased when that went open.
Yeah.
Let's talk Nevada. And one of the things I wanted to ask Lorenzo is Nevada worth applying for?
Man, it's a catch-22. I think obviously if you can afford it, yes. I think it's definitely worth applying for. Nevada has a really interesting rap of like, if you're a non-resident, don't apply. It's not worth it. I mean, if you can afford the hunt license, might as well. Yeah. Why not?
And
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
always got a chance.
yeah, everyone always hears me talk about my family and my brother and my dad. My brother's I don't know what you want to call his poster child for this. Like,
The
like
favorite child?
The favorite child.
favorite child, yeah, the family.
Should we throw that out there?
He's drawing some sick
Brady's
tags.
Brady's dad and mom. Which one's the favorite?
Yeah, it's probably Bryce. Yeah, it's probably my middle brother. But like I do all my brother's apps.
Yeah.
Across all the Western states, like both brothers, I do all the apps for. And like, last year my brother asked me, is it still worth to keep applying in Nevada? You always tell me I'm probably never going to draw. I have to do the hunting license. I have to do all these things. Like the odds are just slim to none.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you have to just apply. Like we just don't know. Maybe eventually you can switch your strategy and maybe you can draw some deer tag that may take a lot lower points and just, maybe go on a hunt while I'm here. And he drew one of the best elk tags in the
The
state.
premier tag. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, he had 0.09% odds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like not even a tenth of percent, not even 1%. And he drew a tag just because he's applying. Yeah, he got super freaking lucky, but like you have a chance to draw.
I actually like Nevada's system quite a bit.
5
because
choices.
You get 5 choices, and they
Yep.
consider every one of your choices before
it
they move
compounds
to
in
the
odds.
next. Yeah, it
Yeah.
compounds. And they consider all of them before it moves to the next applicant. And it's a bonus point random draw. So your odds get better the more bonus points you have, but it's random. So I think I've been applying in Nevada, I want to say 15, 16 years maybe. I can't remember off the top of my head, but somewhere in that neighborhood. But I've drawn 3 tags in Nevada. So I've drawn an antelope tag and I've drawn 2 deer tags,
Yeah.
which I think is, as I think about it as a non-resident, and the quality is really good. Nevada,
That's the thing about Nevada is if you draw a tag, it's a great hunt.
Yeah.
It's not overrun with people. It's a good hunt.
yeah, it's a good experience.
Yeah.
So in that regard, I think it's really worth it if you do draw. And I feel pretty fortunate. I mean, 3 tags in 15 years or whatever it might be, that's pretty decent. Like as a non-resident, I feel like.
For sure.
So to me, it's worth it. And then the thing is if you buy that hunting license, you buy it. I throw my name in for everything. And like if I ever do draw, the best species on the planet, which is elk, if I ever draw that tag,
Why do you look at me?
Just see how you
I
react.
have to throw at least one of them in every time.
Yeah.
If I do draw that tag, it's probably my best chance at my best bull.
Yeah.
Even being a Utah resident, I think that like
I would agree. Nevada's.
the
Yeah.
quality's really good.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah.
If you're on a extremely strict budget, and some people do, which is a safe strategy because this stuff can get out of hand if you're just going all over the place and applying for everything.
Yeah.
So if you're on a real strict budget and Nevada doesn't fit into it and you're a non-resident, then probably not worth it. But if you do want to just take some chances and, over time and just see what happens, I think Nevada is incredibly worth it.
Yeah. I think
I don't agree with the rap that it's gotten, that it's just completely not worth it no matter what if you're a non-resident.
and I would say if you're a bow hunter for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Before I became a resident, I drew a non-resident deer tag here.
Yep. Yeah,
Like-
if you're not a bow hunter, become a bow hunter, and I would put Nevada on your list because there's some permits, especially for deer, antelope, that have relatively decent odds
Yeah.
that you could still pick up and draw.
My only big naysaying on the Nevada draw system is the lockout period.
Ooh, yeah,
That is kind of
Just
harsh.
not a
I
fan.
looked at mine the other day and I looked at my brother's and I'm like, ooh, that's a
It's
long
just
time.
I'm not a fan.
we were talking the other side. I live in Utah. I was talking to Brady the other day about the upcoming draw in Utah. So I'm on a waiting period for elk. I'm on a waiting period for antelope because I had a tag last year. I killed 2 bucks in 3 years
So you're done with that.
dedicated, so I can't hunt deer, general season deer next year. Killed a mountain goat, so I can only apply for one once in a lifetime species, which is bison. So the only 2 species that I can apply for in my home state is limited entry deer, which I have terrible
No
odds
chance.
because I've never
Yeah.
been building points for it because I was going for elk and bison. So it's like my home state of Utah is probably on lockout for a few years.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing to like think about in your mind, like how successful you were at drawing some tags, but now you don't have a chance for anything in your home.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because of lockouts.
as they say,
So
I
funny.
had a good run.
You did have a good run. Man, the antelope and elk lockout in Nevada
Yeah.
for residents is just not
How long
for
is it?
everyone, but especially
how
residents.
long is it for elk?
7.
7 and then
Seven.
3 for antelope.
Yeah.
And
7 and 3.
I just got off my antelope one recently,
Yeah.
but like that was when I actually had time to do an antelope hunt. And then once I got off, I think it was last year or this year I got off, and I just was too busy in the summer to try to do it. And I'm like, shoot, because there was a lot of actually first come, first serve. Those
Yeah.
other years, other people were telling me about it. I'm like, gosh, I really wish I could pull an antelope tag, but I'm on a lockout.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not fun. Being
Yeah.
like your resident home state,
And the hardest thing is you can't build points when you're on your lockout either. So
No.
it's like, so you think about it, like, I'll use my brother again, or maybe Meekson. But my brother drew.
Let's just call him the favorite child.
Favorite child. So he drew.
Golden boy.
So he has a 7-year wait.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is he, 35 years old? So 7
he's-
years. So he can't start applying again until he's 42.
He's done, man.
Done.
He's cooked.
That's probably his only tag he'll
Yeah.
get because of he's going to be that far behind
Mhm.
and he can't, buy those points.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is what it is.
Is what it is.
You might give a guy like me a chance
Yeah.
by locking
I don't want to
Golden
give you
Boy.
a chance. I want to be back in.
You might give me a chance by locking Golden Boy Bryce out of the
Yeah.
draw for 7 years. Yeah. One thing that you said is you were just talking that I wanted to throw in here. So there's a lot of like gamesmanship, I don't know a better word for it, within application season, right? So there's like all these things. There's turn back tags.
You can use the draw. You can use the
There's-
system to your advantage.
Yes, you talked about Nevada, right? They had this system where people turn back a tag in, right? It was
Yeah.
first come, first serve.
First come, first serve.
Yep. So like now they've changed it a little bit in that if a non-resident returns a tag in Nevada, if I'm watching their system, they're going to randomly put it up on their system for sale, and it's first come, first serve. So as a
Yeah.
non-resident, I could buy that non-resident permit that was returned.
Yep.
Same for a resident, but same with Idaho. So there's a turn back process, right? There's
Colorado's a big one.
turn back process. There's like all these little intricacies, and I guess my point is like there's a lot of tags that get returned that are still available to people that are clued in, that are doing their homework, and that's when the product itself, Insider, becomes really important
Mm-hmm.
because we highlight all that.
Yeah.
We cover all of it.
I picked up tags on those and gone out and killed great deer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, people say, oh, they're turned back in for a reason. No, they're turned back in because someone maybe just
Couldn't
drew
hunt.
something else or couldn't hunt or family or work or
I
whatever.
mean,
And
they are turned back in for a reason, but it's
Doesn't
not
mean-
necessarily that it's the animals themselves.
Yeah.
It could be family stuff going on.
Sometimes you just get excited and buy a tag in Idaho,
Yeah.
and then you go down the road and you're like, wait, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You
Let's
know,
turn that one
now
back
I'm going to
in.
turn that one back in.
like, my bull elk hunt that I had, someone turned that in the day of the draw. I was next on the list. So I got it.
Gotcha.
Like, and I shot a phenomenal bull, a dream bull.
Yeah.
Like, why that guy turned it in? Who knows? But he turned it in, and I was next.
Do you ever think about that guy?
I wonder if he could ever reach out to me like, I had that tag and I turned it
What
in.
would you say to him if you did?
I don't know. I'd be like, you made a mistake. That's the only thing I can think of. Like, I had a phenomenal hunt, best hunt.
I would love to know why.
Why he turned it in?
Yeah, it'd be an interesting story.
Yeah.
We should try to find out.
Yeah.
Just call your buddies at Endow and see if you can figure out who that was.
That'd be really interesting to
Chase
figure
down
out.
their life story, have him on the podcast. I want to know why he
That
turned
would
that.
be interesting.
I want to know why he turned that back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. People turn stuff back in for all different kinds of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've turned things back in before too, because
Mhm.
like you're saying, wherever
I
it is,
don't. I just eat it.
Just eat it. Don't let anyone else have that opportunity.
Sometimes you can't turn them back in, which I think is silly.
Yeah.
That is
But
silly.
yeah, sometimes you can't go hunting and you can't turn it back in. It'd be great if you could and offer that opportunity to somebody else.
I did get a request the other day to update our article that we have, because I have an article out there like I think it's called like what happens if you draw too many tags in the same year, like what are the turn back processes in every single state, because it is kind of extensive and
every state's
confusing,
different.
and every state's different. When do you get your money back? If you do it later, you get less money back. You have to do it like X amount of days before the season opens or just before the season opens, and like so maybe I should probably kick that one back to the top and update it, because it is something, like I said, people are wanting to know about if they want to turn back a
Yeah.
tag. But
So I wanted to cover one more state, and then we'll dive into filtering. And I'm going to let you two cover this one. So give us the rundown on Montana, which is always the most
Don't
complicated.
have me run this one down.
It's the most complicated.
Yeah. Let's have Brady run this one down.
all
I'll
right,
stay out
so
of
yeah,
this one.
Montana is the most complicated.
Does that make
State.
sense to you guys that Montana's is the most? Do you guys
No.
think Montana's the most backward state in the West?
Yes. It's ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, Montana is a very complicated system, and it's the one that every single year we try to highlight all these things on the application strategy article, try to point them out, and we still get the same comments on it, which is totally fine. Like, you just want some clarity, but like it goes to show that people need clarity all the time on it, because it is
Yeah.
such a confusing system.
Mhm.
They don't make it easy, especially for a non-resident. For a resident, super easy. Pick up your tag, OTC, general
It's
season.
easier if you have an insider account. I'll say that.
A
Throw
lot
that out there.
easier.
A lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Shameless
better
plug.
sign up right now and get some extra reward points.
Get some cheddar.
Yep, cheddar.
That's what the kids say.
I like that. So yeah, Montana draw system, very complicated. They have a limited draw system, and then they have general season points or general season hunts as well. But it's a random lottery that's basically weighted by bonus points, and those bonus points are squared as well. So you always do have a chance
for your special limited quota.
For special
permits.
limited quota, you have a chance to draw your deer and elk tags.
Yeah, let me back you up. Give me the general season first.
I'm gonna go general season first.
Yeah, because you have to draw that in order to be considered in the special limited quota.
Yes, I like to go deeper first and then come back.
Wouldn't expect any other thing.
Okay, you want me to go the really confusing
part
first?
I'm not touching that one. Keep going.
Okay. All right. So yes, we'll dive into the most confusing part. So I wanted to go bonus points first and then dive into this. So.
Hit general season first,
okay.
I think.
Well, general season, going to lead into it. So this is why it's the most complicated system, because in Montana, you need to have a general season permit to then get a limited entry permit. It's like general season license to get a limited entry permit, because the permit's going to add on to the license. That's what makes it confusing. So when you go and apply, Montana has combination license. You have an elk combination license, which is an elk only license. You have a deer combination license, which is a deer only general season license. And then you have a big game combo, which gives you a deer elk.
What's the
license.
Combo part of this equation?
So you have a bunch of other,
Small game,
bullshit
fishing.
stuff that you don't need. Upland game, fishing, it's going to get your base hunting license and some other fees on top of that.
So you can basically look at it as a general season elk, general season deer, or general season big game, which is deer and elk.
And that's ran on a preference point system, the general season. So 75% of the permits are going to the highest point holders, and then 25% is allocated tags in the random draw who have not purchased any preference points. And so this is where it comes into really confusing thing. People look at our draw odds, and it's like, well, 0% odds.
0 point odds.
0 point odds is better a lot of times than the 1%.
And
a lot of the 2 or 3 is where people pick up the most tags in that 75%. But the reason is because they're just, it's just
they randomly allocate that 25% that is randomly allocated is only randomly allocated among people that have no points.
No points.
So if you have 1 point, you're not really even in the draw, right?
No. And this is where it gets really confusing. Then I'll jump in and I'll just use myself as an example.
Okay. Let's use Bryce.
The golden trout. Well, he's already drawn one of these tags. He's the golden trout. He drew no points.
I know, but we're just using Bryce today, so let's use him.
Okay, so let's say Bryce, the golden child, as
little angel baby,
has 15 bonus points for elk. He does not want to hunt a general tag. He wants to hunt big bulls.
Yep.
Because he's been putting in for a long time. He has 15 points. If he has 0 preference points right now, he has this big decision to make. Because if he goes into the draw, he can elect to stay at 0 and not purchase one now. Because if he says he wants to purchase a preference point during the draw for the big game combo, he will go in at 1.
He probably won't draw.
And he won't draw that year. But he has 50. But he could be applying for a limited entry hunt that he has more points to get. He could burn on something that he has 99% chance to draw on the limit entry side, but because he goes in at 1 point and elects to buy that point, he does not draw the general season combination tag, which means he's automatically ineligible to apply for that limit entry draw.
He can apply for it; it just won't be considered.
No, that's what I mean. He's applying for it, but he has 0 chance to draw that because he did not draw the combo tag. Or he can elect to stay at 0 points, not buy it, to have that slightly better chance, which sometimes around 60% at 0. But then he doesn't gain a point. So then during the summer point purchase period, he cannot purchase a point then. So he still stays at 0 until the next year. Then he has to have the decision again. Did I just F myself? And I could have had 2 now, because then he would have had the 1, and he wouldn't have drawn, and now he has a 2. So now he's probably most likely going to draw the general season combination tag, which then he'll allow him to get, because you have to have that first in the application thing, because then it looks at that, and then it'll allow you to move forward to try to draw that limited entry tag that uses the bonus points.
So in essence, his limited entry special permit
is only
application is really only considered every 2 years.
Every 2 years. And that's what's really kind of frustrating, was why would I have a system like that where a resident can do it every single year? But as a non-resident, you're really only allowed to do it every other year. And it's a 90-10 split. So you're already not really very good chance anyway, but you're only allowing someone who has all those points to actually get one of those tags every other year. and you have to
And
think
that's
about
if you
how
pay.
you do
Yeah,
it.
that's if you pay attention.
Pay attention. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like that's what the frustrating part is, because it's like I thought to me, like I have, people quote that all the time. I have a metric shit ton of freaking elk points in that state. I'm one of the. I think there's only like 20 other people at my point level or higher. We'll put it that way. I'm a max point holder.
Gotcha. You just been buying points?
No, I'm not buying.
Oh, okay.
But I just don't have a chance because it's not every other year thing.
Yeah.
And so every other year, and it's a bonus point system, which makes it fair in a sense where people who are applying, with 2 bonus points have a chance to draw those limited entry tags.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes some years I switch my unit around and I'm like, oh, that one now became 99% to try to draw it, but I didn't draw the combo tag. So I literally had 0 chance to get in to get the limit entry permit. Yeah. It's a very messed up, confusing system because you have the bonus points, preference points, how that plays in. Why do you need a general season tag to get the limited entry? I mean, it's really easy if you just want general season. You don't have to think about this for the deer and elk side, but makes it very confusing for someone. And you're probably listening to it. Probably sounds really confusing.
You confused?
I'm still confused.
We've
been doing this for how long?
I mean,
Montana still confuses me.
If I could try to wrap it up, I would say you essentially have 2 pools of permits. You have general season permits, and you have limited entry special permits on units that they manage, hunts that they manage for better quality, right? So you can apply for general season, deer, elk, or combo, elk and deer.
Yep.
Okay, and you can also apply for special limited entry permits, but your application for special limited entry will only be considered if you draw a general season tag.
Yep.
So when you get that general season tag, you can choose to go up and hunt it, and you can hunt on that in general season units, and have a great time, or you can return that for 80% refund.
Yeah.
Right. And the general season permits are allocated on a preference point system, meaning people with the most points get permits, 25% randomly allocated to people with no points at all. And then special limited quota, those are allocated on a random bonus point system, meaning the more points you get, the better your odds, but it is completely random.
Yep.
And if you're applying in Montana, you have some decisions to make on when you decide to apply by preference points. I would say always buy bonus points.
Yeah.
But man, I'm in that spot this year. I bought a preference point for elk last year, right? So I've got 1 preference point. Going into this draw, I can buy another preference point and apply, which means I will draw.
Most likely you'll draw.
And I'll apply for special limited quota permits, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is what do I do with that general season tag if I draw it? So the thing is, if I return it, then my points are void.
Yeah.
So I'm starting over again.
Yeah, and
it
should be known too that when we talk about the big game combo, the elk combo, and the deer combo, that doesn't mean you have 1 preference point for elk combo, and I could maybe have 3 for deer combo, and I have 1. That's all the same.
All the same system,
preference point in there.
Just on where you want to apply them.
Yeah, and also it should be known too that the non-resident allocation for those the bonus point hunts, like limit entry elk, special draw elk, whatever we want to call it, is up to 10%. And it's not a guaranteed 10%. There's a lot of times in some of those when you look at the tag allocation breakdown where there was no non-resident elk tags given out that year for that unit. So maybe you had your preference, you drew your general season tag, and you're like, sweet, I have a chance to draw this elk tag, but there was actually no non-resident elk tags given out that year because they all went to residents. That's another just cat. And then you're like, well, now I burned my preference point thing and lost my chance that year because it's a very, very difficult system to actually try to get a quote unquote limited entry deer or elk tag as a non-resident because of these
how do they handle moose, sheep, goat, those types of species?
That's your
it's a
bonus point system, right? So you always have a chance, and again they're squared.
Yeah,
and you could buy those points easier. I mean, you don't have to have something else before you can have that one, like the deer and elk.
One thing about sheep, I would say in Montana, you got to be aware of is they kind of rotate the units that are available and open to non-residents.
They still do that with the other species too.
You want to, right. You want to be aware of it.
You definitely
of what
want to
ones
be
you
aware
can
of
actually draw.
The one that you want one year could switch over.
Yeah.
And open up.
Yeah.
And just keep that in mind. And they do have 2 totally different point purchase periods too. So just definitely. They love to make things very, very confusing. So,
best advice I could give you in terms of Montana is really dive into the application strategy article and really tear that thing apart.
Yeah. Does it make you upset that they changed it so a person hunting with an outfitter can buy 2 points?
I mean,
Because that means they're
Yeah.
guaranteed to actually get into limit entry draw every single year.
that's true. And you're guaranteed a general season permit every year if you go with an outfitter.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have strong feelings about it one way or the other. I mean, I guess you're supporting an industry, right?
I
Guide
do
outfitting.
like to that side of it. I do like.
Yeah.
I like that they're supporting local business, right?
Yeah, and it is in essence a pay to play, right? So if you're willing to pay the money to go on an outfitted hunt, you pay that. You're guaranteed the general season tag, and you go out and go hunting. I guess if I want to guarantee myself that same opportunity, I just got to make more money. I guess.
Yeah.
Which sucks. Again, it goes back to that whole is it fair?
That's
is
what I
it
was gonna say
fair?
too.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hard to say. I mean, I can still play the game and I can
I mean,
draw
what
that
is
tag.
fair though?
Yeah.
Define fair, right? Like what is fair?
I
Who
can
knows?
still go to Montana every other year if I want to, right? And hunt general season, and
Which isn't bad when you think about it like that.
not bad. And it does suck that my limited quota application's only considered when I draw the general, and it's only every few years. But I can build points, and
Can build points.
I can hopefully one day capitalize on this. But Montana is like one of those states I really have to have nothing rolling to put it
Actually
on
go,
actually get up and go. And it's not that it's not good hunting, it's great hunting. I mean, there's a lot of people from the Midwest, Wisconsin, Golden Boy Bryce. That's closer
Closer to them.
it's closer to them than it is,
Yeah.
So it makes sense for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Montana's like, whatever to me.
It's a hard one to swallow. Like,
Yeah.
is it worth it? Is it worth it to build those points? Even on the moose, sheep, goat side, like is it the way out? Like it's
And the general, you have to front the cost of that license when you apply for it, which isn't cheap.
yeah,
It's
and then
a grand, pretty much for combo.
And then they switched it so you don't have to front the license on the moose, sheep, goat side. So it just makes it more affordable for everyone to apply for again. And is that fair? Is that a good thing? Like
It's fair. Brady, it's fair.
yeah,
Sweet.
I know. It's like what
We
a system.
we puked out a ton of information right there, and I think it's going to help people generally like navigate the process and help them understand. That's the thing is like I feel like we talk about it and sometimes it sounds confusing, but I think if you listen to this podcast and the last one, I think it will help people understand like, okay, that makes sense for me, right?
Yeah, and if you hear something it was confusing, it just means like it's something you should just dive into the platform and check out further, because like if it sounds confusing, it probably is confusing, and that way you should just check it out in the app strategies and really dive into what exactly does that mean, and what does it mean for me this year and means for me future years, and like we said, how do you use the system to your advantage? Like there's still ways to do that.
Yeah. So can we talk filtering?
Let's talk filtering.
Do you still want to talk filtering?
I always want to talk everything, how to get tags and how to help people.
I wanted to ask Lorenzo. So Lorenzo, you started the company. I think probably filtering's, you and Porter's brainchild, if you will.
Yeah.
Give me the rundown, the dirty on filtering and how that came to be and how you use it.
Yeah. So in pre-state of GOHUNT, there was really no way to ever find all opportunities of every unit all the time, every year, right? That might be speaking a foreign language to people who weren't involved with hunting before GOHUNT, but you guys understand what I'm saying. Feel free to fill in with that. But it was all in magazines and text, and that can only be so dynamic when somebody's trying to figure out what are the opportunities for a state, whether that be a third-party magazine or a state proclamation, kind of using the variable of the two to try to find out, okay, what are my opportunities for actually drawing?
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
But the problem with those services before, that all we had was available at the time, was they were only talking about top tier hunts.
Correct.
So when we say like it didn't show you opportunities, it didn't show you any opportunities besides for the stuff that takes a lot of points to draw. It wasn't any of your over the counter, wasn't any of your 0 to 3 point units, it was 5 point unit. Like
so, what I would do is I would use those services and see what the top 5 are, see what fit my application strategy the best, how my point levels, all that stuff, and then I'd go to a GMU map, and look at shared borders, shared ridge lines, shared mountain ranges that ran into different units. And I'd go to the state proclamation and try to research what that unit offered to me, right?
Right.
And it was really tough. It was really confusing, cumbersome, trying to figure it all out because the information was pretty sparse on those neighboring units or ones that shared mountain ranges, whatever it was. And we wanted to essentially do like the Zillow of hunting. Like it was so easy. Remember the old MLS days where you had to have a realtor to get into the MLS to look at houses? Now you can jump on Zillow or Redfin, all this stuff. You can go house hunting whenever you want. It's always my favorite. Some of my favorite memes are me sitting on my couch looking at $10 million houses, critiquing other people's style. It's like you could never afford the house in the first place, but you love looking at their house. Oh, why'd they do that? Why'd they do that color, right?
Yeah.
But that's how easy it is to shop for houses now. You can put in whatever criteria you want. We wanted to do that for hunting. So instead of having to like go and search for opportunity, we wanted to flip that around and say, okay, what is it that I'm looking for? Like I get to put in the criteria for me personally, and then the opportunities are then shown to me for exactly what I'm looking for. And that was the backbone of filtering was I want to start with what I want, not trying to find something at the end of a rainbow, right?
So what criteria within filtering is like the most applicable
For
like,
me?
Yeah. Like what do you like? What's in it, and what when you're doing your own research, both of you, what do you look at within filtering? What's like your most highly used filter, and why?
I go into filtering with species first. That's I like to go in with species mindset, and then I go straight to draw, like chance of draw, which we have a chance of draw bar, and they're like your draw odds for that species, and I can crank that up to 50%, 60%, 100% at my point level. And it will filter out all of the units that I can't draw and show me all of the units that I can draw. That's usually where I go to first is draw. But again, I'm somebody who carries a lot of points. If I didn't have a lot of points, I'd probably do something a little different.
I don't know. You might do it the exact same.
Or just go to 100.
You might put 0 in there and drag it over to 100 and just see what's available to you with no points.
Yeah, so that's where I go first, and then I look at the units. And if it's still an overwhelming amount of units, which a state like Colorado, like we were talking about earlier, usually it's pretty overwhelming still. And then I'll start messing with percent of public land just to know that the camel's having a nightmare. Just so I know I'm looking at units that I know I'm not going to have access issues. I'm not going to have any of these things, and it'll filter out some of those headache type units. So I'll go to percent of public land, and then I'll start going to harvest success, kind of work my way down of where I feel comfortable, and then I'll get to a manageable number of units that I will then jump into the profiles of each of those units and start exploring and start bouncing them off each other and ranking my hunt choices. That was the whole, those details we got deep, but the backbone of it is like, I want to see what I want to see. I don't want to have to go looking for something I don't know exists and hopefully find something.
You want to fine tune it to what you were looking for.
Here's what's in my mind. Is there an opportunity for exactly what's in my mind?
Yeah. What do you use? What's your filtering regime?
In depth.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Should we not have asked?
What time is it?
So
that's all we've got for today. I'm just kidding.
So I'm the same as Lorenzo, and I think that's kind of why we made the swap over, on our mobile app to now show species first, and then go, weapon, and then go into states.
Yeah.
On the web, it's a little bit different right now, but I'm still a species first person. I just want to hunt mule deer. Most people know that. Yes. So I instantly go species, so mule deer. I go weapon type right away after that because I want to filter it down by my weapon type.
Select season.
Yep.
That's usually one of my first filters that I hit
because
I want a bow hunt.
I want to get rid of all the bow hunts. I don't want to show those. I don't need to show those.
I want to jump in real quick, and a thought that came into my mind.
Yeah.
Trail is always so pro elk, and every time it's ever brought up anything else, you've killed some of the biggest mule deer out of anyone.
I know.
Multiple of them.
Mostly I just do it to get Brady shit.
But then
Here's the thing: is Brady loves it so hard that I have to just
have to jab
it in. Yeah.
And I did love that people gave you some little ribbing on your trophy room tour. It's like, oh, look at Trail. The only animals he has mounted are mule deer. He's never mounted an elk. That's how much he cares about elk. They just sit in a pile.
That is a fact.
That is true.
You don't care about them.
That's true.
They sit in a pile and collect dust.
Big facts.
So anyway, sorry. That literally just popped in my mind though that he has some of the best mule deer.
Yeah.
But brings up elk every time.
And brings up elk.
I just do it for you, B-Bills.
I'm glad you do. So I go species first. So I go mule deer. I'm just trying to find a mule deer tag. Then I go weapon type, which is also known as a season
so you
thing.
Select rifle.
I select rifle or muzzle loader.
Okay.
Because I want to try I don't really want to look at archery. I know I could go back and archery hunt, but this is me. I just, everyone knows I've lost my drive of archery hunting. So like I
You've
want
been
to weed out
shooting
those.
so good though, man.
I do. I do love shooting a bow.
It's been shooting really well.
And I do shoot it well, yes. But like, so that allows me then to start eliminating those hunts, and then like using on the web. I'm a big web first person. I like to be able to see on a map. Then okay, show me every unit state. Now I select mule deer. Now show them mule deer units, and then it's going to, when I do the weapon type, it's going to start eliminating maybe some units that don't allow that weapon type. Sort of narrowing it down from there, and then I go trophy potential.
Okay.
Because I'm just at a stage in my life where I want to hunt older, mature mule deer, and it's like not always a give all be all. Like if I crank that trophy potential up, that means that unit's going to have that trophy potential.
Do you do that before you put your points on, or do you put your points in? Oh, God, I got ahead of you. My bad.
I like to dump points every year.
My bad.
I turn and burn points because I don't believe you should be saving points.
Okay.
I don't want to sit on the bench and watch other people hunt.
Yeah, but the reason
I want to play. But so here's the thing. I'm going first for low opportunity. So I'm not even worried about points yet. I just want to know, okay, where are some good hunts?
Yeah, but the reason I asked that is because there's no big bucks in low point units.
There is.
Okay, fair enough.
I proved it.
Okay.
Two on the wall. Two on the wall. They're over 200 inches.
I said that somewhat sarcastically, of course.
Okay, but this is like I'm just going my overview first. Like obviously I'm not trying to draw anything yet. That's why beauty of filtering is you're just looking. Yeah. I'm glancing. I'm trying to narrow down what I want, and so I go trophy potential because I just want to see what units are out there. Because maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know about the best unit in that state. I just want to start figuring out, okay, what may be the best units, what may be some units nearby then that I could draw by entering points. So after I do trophy potential, I'll then start going in and sort by buck-doe ratio.
Okay.
Because I want to use that sort function then to give me another leg up and see like, okay, what's the buck-doe ratio in a bunch of these units? And then...
Do you put weight in buck-doe ratios, bull-to-cow ratios?
Just a little bit. Because I want to know what's on the landscape in a sense, and what are my chances maybe to find a buck of that quality based on the buck to doe ratio, or then I'll also use percent 4-point or better a little bit too to figure out okay is there more mature deer being harvested?
Yeah, that's a good one
in a way. Yeah, so I use those in combination.
That one is really good. I look at that one all the time for elk. Yeah, 6-point or better. That's a great.
Yeah,
man, I wish more states collected that kind of data.
Yeah. Nevada does an amazing job with that.
Nevada does awesome.
Incredible job
for sure.
You're looking at like straight facts on 6-point or better,
everything,
4-point or better.
But not only that, all the other stuff in between there too.
Yeah,
the horn length on an antelope.
Yeah,
they do everything all the way through.
Of good data.
Yeah, in some states, Colorado with the moose. I mean, I'll never draw a moose tag, but it's kind of cool to know you can go through those and look at their reports and see what units and what width.
I don't even want just 4-point or better. I wish more states would 4-point or better or 4-point or less. I want, is it a fork and horn?
Score.
Is it a fork and horn?
What
is it a 3x3?
Every animal on the landscape right now.
Is it like just think of the cool data we could have when you shot a deer, you had a report. Is it a fork and horn? Is it a 2x2? Is it a 3x3? And then is it a 4x4? And then maybe you could just do 4-point plus. So then you could look at these units in X state. This unit has a higher percentage of 3-point bucks harvested. You can start to see that.
Yeah.
Like, everyone wants a big old gnarly 3-point. Maybe I want to go check out what's in that unit, big old gnarly 3-point.
Okay.
Or maybe I want to avoid it because I see a lot of fork and horns being harvested. So maybe it's like a lot more people are just going there to meat hunt.
As long as it's a front fork 3.
Yeah. 45 inches of mass, 18-inch G2s.
I don't want to know.
I want those reversed.
I don't want no back fork 3s.
No, back forks look cool. Why would I want to shoot a whitetail?
I want a whitetail.
I want a whitetail mule deer.
Then go hunt whitetail.
Okay.
I love whitetails that have mule deer forks. I think that's sexy.
Okay, fair enough.
You don't think that's sexy?
I mean, I don't like a back fork 3.
Me either.
And mule deer. I'll say it again. I'm gonna put it on my headstone. Ugliest buck on the planet is a back fork.
But do you think a whitetail with back forks on the G2 is
with
sexy?
A split 2?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know that much about whitetail.
It's not as classic looking to me. I mean, yeah, it's cool because it's an abnormal point.
G2 and it's split,
but it's an abnormal point though. So it's not, you're not comparing same to same.
I want a whitetail to look like a whitetail. I want a mule deer
look like a mule deer.
That looks like a whitetail. Oh wow!
To look like a mule deer, unless it's a 3-point.
Then I want it to look like a whitetail.
Okay. Yeah,
there's one antler configuration that's right, and it's whatever that is.
Mule deer bifurcated. We just want that. Forks on forks.
Yeah. Okay.
Back to that.
So buck to doe ratio.
Buck to doe ratio, maybe that
4-point or better.
4-point or better. And this is now then, I will get into some points if need be. But I look at a lot of states that have, OTC mule deer and try to hunt those.
But you can find that in
you can find
that drop down select season.
Yep. So now this is when I'll obviously have my residency already in there because it'll be entered in from Point Tracker. All my points will be there. So this is then when I'll look at, okay, how many points do I have? And then I'll start using that draw out slider to try to figure out exactly what are my chances. And I'm going to see like, oh, that unit that I looked at a little bit ago, that high trophy potential, really good buck doe ratio, maybe I'll start throwing that public land filter on top of that. Had those criteria, but now I'm starting to knock those back really quick because I'm looking at hunts that are going to take some points to draw and I don't have the points for it. But then I'm going to be like, okay, well, what can I draw that still meets my criteria? And then I can start finding those little hidden gems that maybe reach my true potential criteria. Maybe I'll bump it back down a little bit and it'll open the door a little bit more, like on a neighboring unit to a really hard draw unit, like Lorenzo was saying before, about looking at that. And like, well, why is there a easier to draw unit right next to a hunt that takes 20 points? Bucks don't know boundaries. Could be the same county. County could be really known for tracking big deer. Maybe it's something I want to look at because maybe the soil is the same, maybe the habitat's the same to produce really big deer in those units. So I'm trying to like just think of other things, biology on top of it. And
the golden find is finding the same mountain range.
Yeah.
If it runs into a different unit.
Yeah.
That's the money zone.
And then lastly, I might throw on a little bit of harvest success. It's usually kind of my last one.
What about public land percentage?
Yeah, public land is going to be usually a little bit before I do harvest success.
What's your baseline for public land?
Gosh, it can depend. And that's going to depend then. This is when we're going to have to get into looking at maps at the same time.
Yeah.
Because
it does depend.
Yeah.
It completely depends.
Yeah, because you might slide that over and you might see units. Let's say you're an archery elk hunter and you slide that public land percentage filter over and you see there's only 25% public land unit. And you might look at that and be like, shit, that sucks. That's not for me. It's only, but
could be entirely in the valley.
Or it could be entirely, I mean, the public land could be entirely the top of the mountain,
is where elk, private could be entirely in the valley.
The bottom of the valley.
All public land is where the elk
Top
are.
of the mountain could be where elk are during the rut.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So that 25% of public land
is exactly where you need it to be.
Yeah. And exactly. It depends on where that public land is.
And that's why that's why I said usually public land is mixed in there, but that's when you have to use it with the mapping. So that's when you want to have.
You have to see where it is.
You have to visually see it so we can know, like, is it at the top? If it is, that's great. That's going to be a good hunt for me. Or I can use it in reverse, like maybe looking at one of those late season mule deer hunts. Yeah. And like, I'm not really concerned about that private land because I know those bucks are going to be near that private land. And so that chunk of public where it is on the map, I can determine, okay, it's worth going in this unit that has low public land because I'm going to be hunting private land borders. And those bucks are going to be moved down a little bit. So I don't need public land way at the top. I need it around.
You need it where the animals are when you're hunting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Before we move to mapping, I want to ask you some like Mythbuster type questions about filtering. And
Okay.
You said that you might look at harvest statistics. You mentioned that last. You mentioned it maybe second or third. Why don't you look at harvest percentage as like a primary filter when you're looking for a hunt? And what place does harvest success hold for you in hunt research and looking for a unit to apply for?
The reason I don't look at harvest success all the time is because I've been hunting for a long, long time.
Okay.
And I don't really take it fully at face value all the time because someone else could be going into a hunt and they maybe they're just looking for a big deer. Maybe a bunch of people are looking for animals that are unicorns on the unit, and that's why harvest success is a little bit lower, and they're not actually just taking any deer in the landscape. Or I feel like if the harvest success says it's 20%, based on how many years I've been hunting and my knowledge of the area, my knowledge of glassing, my knowledge of that habitat. I'm not saying I'm the best at anything by any means. Every year I learn new things, but I'm thinking like, if it's that, and I go in there and I put my time in scouting a little bit beforehand and I have means to scout and I know how I can walk in a deer, I could probably be a little bit better than that average of 20%.
I mean, I'd say 20% is decent, but what if it's 5%?
5%.
Red flag?
I'm going to be looking at other trends. That's why I'm jumping in the unit profile and look at the trends. Is it dropping down because of whatever other factors? I look up at the weather. Is it getting warmer and warmer in those seasons? Are people just
maybe it's a really warm October deer hunt.
Yeah, it could just be very, very hard that year. Like, I don't take it fully all the time. It does concern me if I do see those 5%. Like, why is it 5%? If it's trending at 5% for a long time, then maybe it's like, okay, there's something going on there. There's not the deer numbers just aren't there.
Or it's just really hard hunting.
Hard hunting. Because I've hunted a lot of places. I do love a really hard hunt. And I realize it's going to be hard to kick up a good deer, but like, I still want to hunt it because I want to chase the adventure side of it. And I know maybe that place I'm going to be hunting is going to have very few deer, but the deer I see could be really, really big.
Could be.
Or it could just not
That's
be
where
there.
I feel like that it can help with your expectations, right? So that's, I think what you're saying, at least my interpretation of it is like, don't necessarily steer away from units because they have a low harvest success. Just do the extra bit of work and realize and kind of base your expectations on what your hunt might be. You're probably going to be in for a really tough hunt.
Yeah, you're going to be a really tough hunt, yeah. But if there's other ones.
Not that it's not worth it. It might be.
Yeah,
there's a good example of that is, so using me saying I use harvest success, I don't just use it to see like, okay, which ones are being really high harvest rates, and those are the only hunts I'm going to go after because high opportunity, whatever it is. I use it on the reverse of that too. Like Omar and I's New Mexico hunt that we went on, the archery success rate bounces between 5 and 7% every year, which is pretty low.
Not great.
Not great. But then you look at the rest of the unit, it makes total sense why it's 5 to 7%. Because the elk, where the elk are during the rut, it is steep, gnarly, high country, backpack, all that stuff. But there is some low country as well that a lot of people can hunt. And that, I mean, right there, it showed like, okay, there's not a lot of foot traffic up where a lot of elk are. So this is actually a really good unit for us in our hunting style.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get away from people. Like clearly we're getting away from where majority of the hunters are. And we're going to go to where the elk are. And, you know, lo and behold, we were in elk every day and killed some. And it's like we used it, even though it was low, we checked in to see why is it that low, because it looks to be a great unit. Well, it makes total sense. Right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are going to where the elk are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that same sort of thing, I will use it opposite of what I just said. I will pay a lot of attention on certain hunts that are very coveted limited entry style hunts. So I have a lot of years invested. I was just looking the other day on some elk stuff. You can give me a good nod there because I'm looking at elk?
Yeah. I mean, you should be.
Yeah, because I got a lot of points.
Because elk are I might only hunt elk this year, I've decided. And antelope.
So I have a lot of points.
Okay.
You know, and I it's a lot of years coming up to, you know, a lot of states, 20-some years of points. And I'm starting to look at some of these units I've been looking at before, and the harvest success is starting to drop. And the number of bulls they're killing in those units is starting to go down, but the tag numbers are still the same. So that to me is kind of concerning a little bit. Like they're starting to kill. Why are they killing less and less elk?
Yeah,
but the permit numbers are still the same. So obviously something's going on there where they've maybe given out too many tags, and the state hasn't adjusted that tag quota yet, and that people are not finding the quality that was there. So they're opting to eat their tag because they're having a tough hunt. Why would I want to go into a hunt with 18 points, burn them, and not see
the animal that you're hoping
that
for?
animal I'm hoping. Yeah, it's always a dream to try to get a big animal, but like when typically that harvest success was a lot higher. Now it's tanking. I've seen units that are literally last 3 years are tanking downwards. That's an alarming thing to me. So that's when I'll use harvest success a little bit more rather than trying to find these like opportunities, 0 to 5 point hunts. And I kind of am just going because I know it's going to be a hard hunt
So
anyway.
that's a good use case for it.
Yeah, but the more covered the tag is, then I'm going to be looking for sure.
Yeah, I'm not always. I'm not like scared of really low harvest success, but I do want to look at trends.
Why? Yeah,
and I do want
try
to look at why and understand why. And really, it becomes more important to me probably at this stage in, you know, my hunting career, quote unquote. But it becomes more important to me that there's actually animals there to hunt, right? Like I want to not see anything. I want to go out and actually have a decent hunt where I see some animals. But then also, to me at this point, like trophy potential is a little more important than, you know, I want to hunt a decent animal versus, you know, any animal with a high harvest success rate. It's a little bit more important to me at this point. But the cool thing about it is like you can tailor your searches and your filters to whatever it is that you're looking for. Maybe you're just not that familiar with hunting in general. You're relatively new, and it's like really important that you bring home an animal. Yeah, great. Use harvest success.
Slide that baby up.
Slide that baby up.
Look at rifle hunts.
Rifle hunts. Yeah, find those
high harvest success.
Find those hunts that have high harvest success.
Yeah. And you can. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, you totally can.
I've explained it before. It's kind of like one of those like choose your own ending books.
Yeah.
Like you can choose the own path you want to go through, and if you don't like that search criteria, go back and modify it. You can sit around for 10 minutes and get so many different search criteria based on how you manipulate the filter back and forth. What are you kind of seeing in there? Go up there, select maybe a different season, maybe select a date range. I can only hunt during X dates and show me all the hunts that are available during that date. Like you can do a lot of cool things, or you can sort by, public land. You can sort by trophy potential, sort by, like I said, buck-doe ratio. A lot of cool things you can do on filtering just to see the opportunities.
Yeah. How much are you using maps and how? What are you specifically using maps for when you're deciding on what to apply for?
Yeah, like we said earlier, maps are very important, I think, during application season, just as much as the data that you're seeing. Obviously, draw odds you need to pay attention to. You need to pay attention to how many tags you're giving out, because you got to find a tag you can go hunt. But so maps I'm looking at all the time for what we discussed a little bit earlier. We're trying to find where is that public land in that unit, and what does that public land look like? And that's where I like to look at a little bit of that unit profile and figure out, okay, what type of terrain am I dealing with? Because we said earlier, we all have our specialties and what we're kind of looking for in a hunt. I like to glass.
Yeah.
I like to dig up animals. I love to sit on top of a mountain, gorgeous scenery.
So you don't want to hunt a unit that's just straight fur.
No. And that's what
I don't know who does.
Yeah. Unless you're an elk hunter, because you're looking for big north-facing slopes all the time.
If they're bugling, sure.
Yeah, if you're bugling in the
only if they're bugling.
Yeah, only if they're bugling. I don't want to hunt that in October or November.
No, but that's the thing that you can find out in maps, though. Like, I can look at that and be like,
but there are areas that have hunts that are available to you during that time of year when it is straight timber.
Yeah, so I would be like, okay, why would I burn, let's say my elk points on that hunt in late October, November, and it's the thickest of thick, and I'm not going to go to glass and hunt. I'm going to have to still hunt, which is something I need to work on. But it's not a strategy that I'm comfortable with right now to just go still hunt, track animals in the snow. So that's why I would go into maps and be like, all right, I'm looking for X criteria. I want to see how those ridge lines look like. I want to see how I can access that unit, maybe start seeing where pressure might come in ahead of time before I'm like, this is the hunt I want to burn points on. And then look, does it have burns? Where's all the water? Where's, places I can glass from? And it's like start gathering all that data, be like, all right, that's the data that I'm going to add to my little hunt planner tools, like make some notes on some units that I might look at in the future, and I'll jump around, look at another unit, jump back into maps, check out the public land, check out the private land, throw some elevation bands on top of everything, like start manipulating all that data, be like, okay, this actually looks like it's a hunt for me because it meets stuff I'm looking for in a mule deer hunt.
The one example I can think of that I think probably illustrates this point the very best is I know of there are deer hunts that you can draw for a certain weapon or certain weapons that are among the best units during late seasons, right, for that same species. And it might take 25 or 30 points to draw a late season rifle tag in this unit, and it might take 2 or 3 points to draw an early archery season or a muzzleloader permit.
This is a great example.
And every year people will email us and ask us, oh man, this is the best unit in this state, right? Why is this unit so easy to draw for archery and muzzleloader? Well, in that example, like just take a look at the map. Yeah. And that's your answer. So you might look at the map and you'll see like, man, it is straight timbered. Like there's not a lot of summer range that's open in this area. You can't glass it. You're basically limited to still hunting and, just kind of ambush essentially. So like that's the best example I could give to you. The other one that I would bring up is, we kind of brought up at the first, but like I don't like road hunting that much. It's not my favorite. Maybe rifle hunting, road hunting is pretty awesome because I've done pretty good at that. But rifle road hunting is, or road hunting in general is not my favorite. So like
road hunting with the family.
Yeah,
that's
pretty awesome.
Fun.
Pretty fun.
And I do look for those hunts for my family.
Sure.
Hunt.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
awesome.
And you should.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's what you're into. Yeah, cruising around, glassing from the road, jump out.
20-minute to hour-long hikes here and there. Cover some country.
Yeah, I agree.
So fun.
And maps is a great avenue to try to find those types of units. Yeah. If I'm looking for an archery hunt, I don't really want to road hunt.
No.
So
definitely not.
And there are units that's kind of what it is, and hunts. So if you don't want that type of hunt, then I need to use maps to make a better decision for my app.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other thing you can think of that jumps out to you as far as maps?
Probably not on the map side, but like I said, I just use them both a lot.
Maps is the decision maker for me. Filtering is like, okay, what are my opportunities that are fitting? I'm not weapon discriminate like Brady Miller is over here. Like I just want to see, okay, what are my hunts? Is this one going to become a family hunt? Is this one whatever? I want to see all my opportunities for what I'm looking for. And then when I jump over to maps is where I'm actually like deciding based on that data is like, okay, that is my unit.
Gotcha.
Maps is my decider.
Yeah. Yeah. I think about things like land ownership, like looking for little pockets that are, tucked away that I can get away from people and get into. Maybe they're protected by a hunk of private. I can like work around the back side of it and I can hunt the back end or the edges of it. Yeah, there's like all kinds of use case scenarios that I think you can use maps for.
I guess it could be a recent burn from last year.
Burn.
From 2 years ago, like, well, this unit was kind of not that great before because it was really thick. All of a sudden, a burn came in, and it's been, enough time has passed,
Yeah.
another regrowth has grown up, and boom, this is going to be a mecca for animals.
Oh, I do that for elk all the time. Like I'm
Yeah.
a burn chaser, and it is what it is.
Little
I just-
Jersey chaser over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Burn's a good one. That's a great use case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
I got one more thing.
Yep. I knew you would.
I always do. I want to jump into just quickly some of the filtering on the mobile app.
Okay.
That's then like the filtering right now on the mobile app and the web are slightly different.
Okay.
But there's cool things right now on the mobile app that during this research season you're not going to have on the web yet. All these tools are going to be moved over from mobile to web here eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But because like we talked about on mobile, now it's a species first, weapon, and then a state, which is kind of different flow than what we experience on the web. But there is benefits to it. I'm just going to again use mule deer because they're the best. So right now I have the mobile app pulled up. I went mule deer. Yeah. And allows you to select mule deer. Then the next part you can select a weapon. You can select all three and just click I'm flexible or tap them all. So I got rifle selected. And the cool thing now about what this flow allows you to do, which is what I'm really excited for on web as well. I'm just kind of looking sometimes to pick up mule deer tags anywhere. Mm-hmm. I'm not a state first person all the time. I know certain states are typically a little bit better because of trope potential or just getting a tag.
Yeah.
But I can now search for 3 to 4 different mule deer states at once. If I just like, hey, I have only 2 weeks to hunt. I want a mule deer tag, and I don't care what state it's in. I can now do cross-state filtering,
Research. Gotcha.
which is really, really cool. Or it could just be like, just show me all the elk stuff for all these couple states that might have over-the-counter or easy-to-draw opportunities, and I just want to find the best hunt for me based on my search instead of going, okay, I'm going to go Colorado, now I'm going to go Idaho, now I'm going to go New Mexico, and like trying to write all these notes down. You can now do cross-state research, which I think is really cool. One of the other cool things is if I jump in to a state and maybe I'll only pick one, I can now adjust my filters to exclude certain point sections. So like a point exclusion filter, which is really, really handy. So let's say I have, 15 points, and on like filtering or on draw odds, you're going to see all those hunts that you could draw 100% at the low point levels, but it makes it kind of hard.
Because you're trying to maximize the value
I'm
of your
not going
points.
to burn 15 points on a 3-point unit. And it's not going to do that. So I can say, all right, filtering, exclude hunts between 0 and maybe 10 points, and then do what the draw odds filter exclusion I want on top of that, or I can just leave it alone, and then now it's going to start excluding those hunts that don't meet my criteria, so I don't need to see those low point hunts anymore. Which makes it a cleaner view. And the person can do the opposite too. If you have low points and you don't want to see those hunts you're never going to draw, why are you showing me those exclude hunts from 20 points down as well? So there's different ways you can use the point exclusion filter, but it's just a really cool tool for new hunters or people who have a lot of points to try to exclude hunts and see things a lot easier. So I just wanted to bring up the point exclusion filter.
It's great. You can really fine tune it and get it within a small window because you do want to maximize your points.
Yeah. And I know we've been getting asked that question a lot about the point exclusion filter, and we do have it on the mobile app, and eventually it'll be on web, but also that cross state filtering is kind of really cool. There's different edge cases for it. There's certain species I think it's maybe a little more valuable for. Or maybe you're trying to figure out what are my best chance to get a moose, sheep, or goat license eventually. Maybe you could like kind of weigh your options, even though they're all really bad. But
Good luck.
Yeah, because like everyone's trying to
Be
find
really
that hidden
lucky.
gem.
Yeah.
Be Chris Porter.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, good. That was a lot. We ran through a lot of information in the last 2 weeks, but I think we've set people up with the ability to kind of move through this app process this year and try to understand. Hopefully they have a better understanding of the draw systems and how they work.
And there's new things coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So better be checking out because there's a lot of new things coming. That's going to help you on this application season.
Yeah. Some real cool newness.
Real cool new.
I love new things.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
New odds, new bows, new sights, all the newness.
Newness.
Well, thanks, guys. That's good.